Hey, Lindsay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you see both me and the presentation, first slide.
Yep.
Awesome. That's a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's I was really worried, but it's not as bad as I was afraid it would be.
Yeah. So I have a request for you. Could you text me if something happens during this, like it did in the last?
Yeah.
And if all else fails, everybody can just have, and I can't complete the presentation for some reason, we'll get it taped and sent out to everybody, get it recorded and sent out to everybody. Okay.
All right. And just as people are trickling in, and I'll put this in the chat box as well as everyone, you can click twice on so right now you see me and Susan and her slides. You can click twice on her slides if you want to see them bigger, if you can't read them. So that's how you do that. Good morning, everyone. It is 9:15, so we will begin this session. My name is Lindsay Novacek. I'm the chair of the nurses section for the North Carolina Public Health Association. Wanted to remind you that the evaluation link will be available at the end of this presentation, and all 4 sessions presented by the nursing section today, Thursday, 10/8, will need to be attended or recorded, and either in order to get any continuing education link at all. That evaluation link will be dropped in the chat box at the end of this session, but it will not open until 5 o'clock today. I would like to introduce Dr. Susan Little. She will be presenting the annual State of Public Health Nursing Address as the Chief Public Health Nurse. Dr. Susan Little has worked in public health. Dr. Susan Little has worked in public health. I'm hearing. Who am I hearing?
Or I don't know who else would have a mic. Oh,
Who is that? Who? I'm sorry. Please bear with us as we work through some technical problems, people. Sorry, everyone. I'm trying to figure out whose mic is on. I apologize, Dr. Little.
it's okay.
I'm so sorry, Susan. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know where this is coming from.
Do we want to just go ahead and try it anyway? Doesn't seem to be consistent.
Okay, because I can hear it though. I mean, can you guys hear it all on your end?
Yes, but your voice is much louder than the background.
Okay, because that's not how it feels for me. It's very loud on my end, but I will go ahead and attempt that, and I'll continue to try to contact Kim and see if we can get that remedied. But I apologize. Dr. Little has worked in public health since the mid-1990s in local, state, and international settings. Her passion is described as a commitment to excellence in the public health nursing profession and community. Dr. Little's current professional role as Chief Public Health Nurse and Branch Head for the North Carolina Division of Public Health. Dr. Little volunteers her time as the appointed practice co-chair of the American Nurses Association Public Health Nurse Scope and Standards of Practice Revision Work Group, is the Quad Council Coalition's QCC liaison to the Council on Linkages between Public Health and Academia, and is a member of the editorial board for the Public Health Nursing Journal. Dr. Little is certified as an advanced public health nurse, APHN BC, holds certification in public health, healthcare quality, and as a public health manager. Welcome, Susan.
I am loving your cat. Thank you, Lindsay. Hey, everyone. This is Susan Little, and I'm so happy to be a part of this today. Please put in the chat if you can hear me okay. Just right. Okay. Oh, yes. Great. Thanks, Carolyn, Valentina, Lisa, Patty, Stephanie. Thank you all very, very much. All right. So let's get started. I will note that I have the pleasure of doing this from my home, and that means I get to have my two rescue dogs, Sophie and Claire, beside me, which means you may hear barking, you may hear lapping of the water bowl, you may hear all kinds of noises, and but that's life, isn't it? And so let's get going. Welcome to the first annual State of Public Health Nursing Address. I'm very pleased that you all could be here. It looks like there's almost 50 people. That's a wonderful turnout. It is also being recorded so that those of you who are listening to this who are not present during the live session are able to attend as well. I'm happy to say that now that we are here, I'm not hearing any other background. So hopefully the quality will, background noise, hopefully the quality will be good. All right. I want to remind you all that do the social media thing to please tag the hashtag NCPHA Fall Educational Conference and FEC 2020 and hashtag NC Public Health Nursing on Twitter and Facebook. And of course, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook, North Carolina Public Health Nursing. Okay, so what we're going to cover today, we're going to cover some state things. We're going to talk about the recruitment and retention study, the PHN manual, the newly published PHN manual. We're going to talk about National Public Health Organizations goings on, professional certification, and then we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about you and your leadership and what you can do for public health nursing, what you can do for yourself, how you can find your voice and get that voice to the table. All right, let's talk about first the North Carolina Public Health Nursing Recruitment and Retention Study. A little bit of background about this. I think in 2017, the North Carolina Association of Public Health Nurse Administrators came together and decided that they needed to find out what they can do to address the recruitment and retention issues that North Carolina public health agencies are experiencing with public health nursing positions. And they convened a group of public health nurse leaders to start working on this. And all of us were in practice, and we worked very hard, but we were not able to get the study off the ground for almost a year and a half. And I was walking down the hall with Phyllis Rocco one day at the division, and I said, sure would be nice if we had a DNP student that could take leadership and carry us through this study that the North Carolina public health nursing leaders have asked for. And within just a few days, I was contacted by who is now Dr. Jamie Watts Isley, who was starting her DNP program at the UNC Greensboro, and was a public health nurse prior to starting in school. And so she jumped on and started working with us in 2018, and 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And she quickly found that the ask to learn about public health nursing recruitment and retention was going to be larger than a one-year project, and came to the PAC, the Practice Advisory Committee, and proposed that we make this a larger study. So it turned into the 3-phase study. So phase 1 was retention, and all about retention issues that are experienced, good and bad, that are experienced by frontline nurses in North Carolina local health departments. And that study was concluded, and she's in the midst of writing a manuscript to submit for publication. She's done several presentations, and on December 8th, she is going to be presenting on her findings. She's going to be presenting with Claire Stewart, who is the UNC Greensboro Doctor of Nursing Practice student, who is working on phase 2, which is looking at recruitment issues that North Carolina public health nursing leaders are. We are in the midst of collecting data now. For those of you who have completed the survey, we really appreciate that. You should hear from us in the next probably week about whether we're going to, we have enough to close, or if we're going to have another week or two. But thank you for those of you who have completed the survey to give us information about the recruitment issues that you're, next thing and we're looking for someone to take leadership now is phase 3. And that's translating the evidence that Dr. Watts Isley and Stewart and Claire Stewart have found their findings, and translating that into practice. And that will be some form of a public health nursing recruitment and retention toolkit. And so what we're doing now is we're looking for someone who is a public health nurse in North Carolina, who is in to connect with them in the next few months so they can start on this project in 2021 and hopefully finish by next summer. So pass the word around. We are looking for those persons. Mark your calendar for December 8th, because there will be a webinar, and they will, both phase 1 and phase 2 leaders will provide an update about all that. I'm very excited to share that we in Public Health Nursing Professional Development Unit have partnered with many North Carolina public health nursing leaders and local health departments to create the updated nursing manual. It's been many, many years overdue. And I invite you to go to the ncpublichealthnursing.org webpage and look under resources for the nursing manual. And you will see all the updated information there. It was just published yesterday afternoon. It is hot off the virtual press, and I invite you to look at the good information that you will see there. And I also invite you to provide feedback on anything that you read. On the ncpublichealthnursing.org webpage, there is a contact, or send us a message at the bottom of each webpage. And so you can send us feedback, and we monitor that email account, and we'll get back with you. Okay, so that's the state. Let me have a little drink of water first. Let's move into national. I want to talk about the Council on Public Health Nursing Organizations. Those of you who have heard of the Council of Public Health Nursing Organizations, please put yes or I have or something like that in the chat. CPHNO. Anybody? Me, Lindsay, yes. Jennifer, Phyllis, yes. Jane, Karen, Betty, Dana, Brooke, yes. Awesome. That's fantastic. So the Council of Public Health Nursing Organizations is the new name of the Quad Council. And you've heard Joy Reid, Dr. Joy Reid, you heard Phyllis, and you have heard me talking about the Quad Council of Public Health Nursing Organizations for years. They have changed their name because I think they're up to 7 organizations now, including the Association of Public Health Nurses, the American Public Health Association, American Nurses Association, Rural Nursing Organization, and many others. So I wanted to let you know that their name has changed. And what they do is that they're the voice for public health nursing across the nation. They advocate for policy, practice, research, and academia. And so it's where the leaders of all the organizations come together and promote the best practice for public health nursing. I want to talk about 2 organizations a little bit before we move on. And first, I want to kind of go down memory lane. When I first became a regional nurse consultant in 2012, my first in North Carolina Association of Public Health Nursing Organization meeting, it was in Greensboro at the Embassy Suites. And I remember I had been hired by Joy Reid, and this was about a month later. And I remember watching her stand up and do probably this same talk or a similar talk. And she said, you need to join the Association of Public Health Nurses. This is your organization, and it supports all of the work that you're doing. It's our national public health nursing organization. And so I left, and I did that very day. And I have had the pleasure of being a member of it since then. I had 6 years where I was very involved in the organization. And it is a group of folks that are like-minded, like everyone that is on this call. And I really encourage you to go and look at the APHN website and see if it looks like something that you want to join. It has so many resources. They advocate for us. They have continuing education. They have annual conferences. They put out position statements, all kinds of things like that. So please go to the website. At the end of the presentation, I'll spend some time on the resources page so you can see the website, but you can just Google it as well. I also want to talk about the American Public Health Association Public Health Nursing section. You're going to hear from Dr. Sean Knipe, who is the current chair of that. And that is our section for the American Public Health Association. Dr. Knipe will be talking later this afternoon about the future of public health nursing. I'm a member of that as well, and I've become more involved in that group. They have a different vibe, those two. You just have to find which one fits best with you. APHN is a smaller organization. The conferences are a couple hundred folks. APHA, 26,000. It's just where you fit. But I encourage you to go and look at both of their websites and see if one of them or both of them will be a good fit for you. Okay, I have a question. If you have a national certification in nursing or otherwise, could you please put those credentials in the chat? NCSN, Deanne Adams. Carolyn, anybody else? National certification. NEABC, Kimberly Hardy. CCHP, Lindsay. That's okay, it's not nursing, Lindsay. And Public Health Nursing Advanced Board Certified, Carolyn Rose. Well, I'm going to stop there and transition to the next slide, because what I want to talk about is a national certification that is a very good fit for public health nurses. If you'll see in the chat where Carolyn wrote PHNA-BC, that was our certification for many, many years for advanced public health nurses through the American Nurses Association, or subsidiary ANCC. But that was retired several years ago. And now most public health nurses that are seeking generalist certification are doing the CPH certified in public health. And the reason that I'm telling you about that now is that right now, because of COVID, there are free preparatory resources that you can get. Usually, I think these are a couple $100 if you have to pay for them. Again, in the resources, I'll spend some time on that page. You can find this. But find information about this. But this certification is all about public health from soup to nuts. And it really captures your understanding, experience, and expertise in public health. So I would recommend, if you are seeking certification, or if even just thinking about it, maybe go to the webpage, the National Board of Public Health Examiners, go under how to review and prepare, and go to the Association of Schools and Programs of Public Health, ASPPH, CPH review webinars and study guide, and sign up for those, because you can get them for free right now. All right. So what is this? Put in the chat box what this is. Anybody? The new 10 essential public health service. Oh, Lindsay, come on, people. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, these are the refreshed 10 essential public health services that were just revealed last month in September of 2020. And the reason that I want to talk about those today is that they have been refreshed to, the old set had been around for 25 years. And we know how much, think about our own personal lives, how much change has gone on in the last 25 years. And it is the same with public health. Those of us who have been around know this. So they had a group of leaders from across the nation, including a public health nurse, who sat down and created this new set of 10 essential public health services. I encourage you, if you have not had a chance to look at it, to go to the CDC webpage or Google 10 Essential Public Health Services CDC, and you can see the new information, the new 10 essentials, the new toolkit that is surrounding these. This is why we go to work every day. Public health nurses, health directors, environmental health, everybody. This is why we go to work every day. One of the main differences that I think is so important right now is that the new 10 essential public health services are centered in equity. And this is important because, timely now, for sure. But it's important because in the past, they were centered on things like research. So the 10 essential services has moved out to the public and the populations that public health serves. So in the chat box, real quick, what is health equity? Share your answers. Quick, little short. What is health equity? Anyone? Assuring that people have access to the healthcare they need. Highest standard for health for all. Everyone has a fair shot. This is awesome. So while the term equity is widely used, a common understanding of what it means is actually lacking. So the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation defines it as health equity means that everyone has a fair and just opportunity to be as healthy as possible. This requires removing obstacles to health such as poverty, discrimination, and their consequences, including powerlessness and lack of access to good jobs with fair pay, quality education and housing, safe environments, and health care. So I was reading the Johns Hopkins Nursing Magazine, an article actually from 2017 that's called Shifting the Nursing Paradigm from Disparities to Equity. And even though it's a 3-year-old article, I think it is so relevant right now, especially with the new 10 essential public health services, because we need to continue to concentrate on disparities and social determinants of health and what those policies and decisions impacting the social determinants of health, how they impact our communities and our families and our individuals. But putting the equity lens on it is really important, especially for public health nurses, because we know that where everybody works, learns, worships, plays, lives can impact health, right? We all know that as nurses. We have seen that as public health nurses. You know, we know that a 1 mile difference can make a difference in a child's health. A 1 mile difference in zip code can make a huge difference, years difference in their lifespan. And as nurses, it's our responsibility to put the promotion of health equity at the center of our work. So organizations, including the World Health Organization, have called for focus on social determinants of health because they are the primary driver of health inequities seen around the world. Social determinants require us to focus on circumstances that create differences in health status between the groups, including economic stability, education, social and community context, health and healthcare, neighborhood quality, and the built environment. But as nurses, we know it's our responsibility to promote social justice. And we are compelled to put the achievement of health equity as our primary goal, because we know that health equity means that everyone must have a fair and just opportunity to be as healthy as possible. And this requires us advocating as public health nurses to remove the obstacles to health. And those include poverty, discrepancy in pay, powerlessness, lack of good jobs, quality education, housing, and safe environments, and healthcare. But the good news is that social circumstances are reversible and avoidable. So the challenge is identifying underlying circumstances that shape the disparities and develop effective solutions for our communities. And so to do this, to advocate for this, you have to find your voice as a public health nurse, and you have to get it to the table to help drive change. So I want to spend the last few minutes talking more specifically about some leadership ideas that I have experienced and that I have lived, so that you can hopefully learn from what I have experienced, and hopefully it will inform your practice and your thoughts about leadership and your thoughts about equity. So when we talk about getting your voice to the table and advocating, you may say something like, Susan, I have no credibility. No one will listen to me. And everybody feels that. I feel that every day. I feel like I'm not the perfect person to talk about whatever it is that I know needs to be advocated for. But getting our voices as public health nurses to the table is super important. But right now we're dealing with some pretty bizarre situations. And one thing that I've noticed is that the leadership is changing. We are used to a hierarchy of leadership where it's up down, right? And often the up down is not only supervision, management, direction, but it's knowledge, expertise as well. What I've experienced, though, is that, especially during COVID, we're seeing a leadership or expertise model that looks a little bit more like this, more of a web, where it's not a top down. And I've experienced this myself. I have a subordinate who was pulled for what may be a year or more longer project, and she is now 3 rungs up. So my direct supervisor and her direct supervisor answer to her. And that's the kind of innovative and opportunistic leadership that we have to do now in public health and in public health nursing. And many of you may have experienced this as well. The nice thing about this kind of complex model is that it is not hierarchical. It puts a leader in the middle, and then you have all of the support knowers and subject matter experts there to support that person. But one thing that can happen is that in a hierarchical model, a public health nurse's voice is more likely to be automatically brought to the table. In this, it may not. In this new model that I'm seeing so much, it may not. So it's up to you to bring your voice, to find your voice and bring it to the table. Again, you may think, how am I going to do that? I don't know how to put my voice together. I don't know how to come up with the words. I'm afraid. What if there's not a chair at the table? What if I'm not invited to the table? So I've been thinking about that a lot as well. And actually, I've been thinking about that for several years. And it's not until that COVID happened that I realized all of my thoughts kind of came together. And I created a leadership model that I call the Backpack Beach Chair Leadership Model. It's all about finding your voice and get it to the table. I know you all have heard me talk about this before. I just gave it a name just about 2 weeks ago. And it's based on how I was able to get up the nerve to take the risk to get my voice to the table. And that's why I want to share it with you. About a year and a half ago, I was at the beach and I had a Tommy Hilfiger backpack beach chair. And I was thinking about work, as I always do. And I realized that when we got up to go back inside, I folded that thing up and I put it on my shoulders. And it hit me. I've got to have this chair with me all the time. I have got to have my metaphorical Tommy Hilfiger backpack beach chair with me all the time. That's the chair I need. And so when I have something that I need to say to advocate for you all public health nurses, to advocate for the public, to advocate for populations, for individuals, that I have this metaphorical chair on my back at all times. So when I walk into a room and I want to share my voice and I look around the table and there's not a space to be had, there's no open chairs, I can walk up and say, excuse me, and put my chair down and have my voice at the table. Your voices are so important. And you have so much expertise. But again, you may be saying, I don't have any street cred, Susan. I don't have my PhD. I'm not a health director. But I think that is wrong. I don't think that. I know that's wrong. And that's because knowledge and expertise comes from several different places. So I went to a wonderful workshop recently, and it was called the Op-Ed Project. And we talked about sources of credibility. And we have the extrinsic and intrinsic. And you have, of course, your PhDs, your CEOs, your white males, your elders, your politicians, your Ivy League, folks who've been published, those are folks that we tend to think have credibility. They do, but look to the right. You have credibility too, because you have lived experience. You have integrity. You have years of study. You have years of experience. You're wise. You listen. You have empathy. You've served, and you're honest. Those are sources of credibility. They come from within you. They are already there. And that is the voice that you need to put on your backpack beach chair and walk into a room and make sure that voice is heard. So especially during COVID right now, when public health nurses are so vital to every single direction that this response and preparation is taking. So my challenge to you is to remember this picture, remember this model. Think about your metaphorical backpack beach chair. Have it on your back all the time, because your voice is so important and so needed right now. Okay. The last slide I'm gonna share with you, I think, is a really important message that I got from the op-ed project as well. And it states that the story we tell becomes the world we live in. That is why your voice is so important, because you can make a difference in the world by sharing your experience, by sharing your wisdom. Okay. So I see this one said the beach chair analogy made me think of 1 Peter 3:15. Thank you, Vicki. I appreciate that. I love hearing about ways that this leadership model fits with each person. Servant leadership, Kathy Dale talked about servant leadership. The servant leader shares power, puts the needs of others first, and helps people develop and perform as highly as possible. And Judah Northcott says, PHNs at any level can lead. Okay. I want to ask if you have any questions. We have just a few minutes, and I want to ask you if you have any questions. They can be about the content that I've covered so far, or they can be unrelated. If I don't know the answer, I will make sure that I get the answer to you. Are there any questions? Please add them to the chat. Going once, going twice. Great. All right. Here are the reference I talked to you about. We're going to make these slides available as soon as possible. That may take a few days to get them on the NCPHA nursing section webpage. You are welcome to email me directly at susan.little@dhhs.nc.gov if you'd like a copy of these slides beforehand. Here are the resources that I used or referred to during during this talk. I'll take you to the middle where it says Palmer P. 1998. It's an old resource, but that's the one where we had the hierarchy, where I talked about the hierarchy versus what I call the web. That actually comes from his book, The Courage to Teach. And it inspired me when I first saw it, inspired me because I could see how with a few edits and changes, it fit in our world. The last thing I'm going to share with you is this slide. Lindsay shared that you cannot start doing the surveys to get your contact hours until after 5 o'clock today. But if you want to take a picture of this, or you can see I'm going to make my video go away so it's larger. Well, it's not, that didn't help. Oh well. You can use the QR code, or you can use the website, which is https://www.surveymonkey.com/r/0137A. Vicki, if you want to just email Vicki, I can get this to you. I'll send you the slides and you'll have everything you need. Okay, Lindsay, thanks. She put the link right in the chat. And so we're good. We've got it posted. Before we end up, does anybody have any questions or comments that they would like to add? Okay. Well, then I've got my sweet Claire here that just came to give me a little sweet snuggle as I end this up. I want to thank you for who you are. North Carolina nurses, North Carolina public health nurses are the very best nurses. You rock. You have a voice. You need to get it to the table. Reach out to me for anything. I love talking to everybody. Love talking to everybody at the local health departments and out in academia and any other areas. Thank you for all you do. Take care.
Great. I posted the survey link up here. It's pinned. Please bookmark it in your browser because I'm not sure how long this will be available after the session ends until the recording comes live. So please click that and bookmark it in your browser. Just a reminder, you will need to attend all 4 nursing section sessions today, either a mix of live or when they're available after they're recorded to get any contact hours. Okay. And Susan, if you just click leave in the top right corner.
Okay.
That's how you end your session.
Okay. Someone asked me to go back to the resource page. Denise, if you've got what you need, can you put something in the chat saying you're good? And I'll close. Okay, not hearing from her. I will go ahead and end the session. Thank you all. Bye-bye.